It is so great to be with you today, Dawn. It's been a little while since we've been together, and I'm so excited to share your story here with our audience. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. We've had great conversations in the past when you've been helping me, and I'm excited to share with people because there's been huge changes for me.
Yeah, there have been huge changes for you. And so I want the world to know you. So, I met Dawn and she had lost her husband. She'll tell you the story and is creating a business called The Wise Widow. And she is awesome at this. Her background in education brings you that guidance, that compassion, that navigating force to really help people who are going through loss, right? Who are going through loss. And I know that you do one-on-one kind of work with people. You've done group work with people. And I love your philosophy. So I know when I first met you, Dawn, I thought, wow, you've got a lot of power. You turned something that was so difficult, and had your own vision about saying to yourself, in 3 months, I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna start living my life and not stay in that grief. And I like what you said here too. You said, your work really embodies the truth. And while grief will always be a part of your story, it doesn't have to be. It can be a story, it can be your source of strength, connection, and even light. And it has for you. And you're such a great role model for that.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It has been a journey. It actually, my husband will have passed away 2 years on Monday. He passed away September 1st, 2023. So it's only been 2 years.
2 years, okay.
And I have come leaps and bounds because I said, I am not going to let this drag me down. I'm not going to be one of those widows laying in bed day after day. I have to help other people because there's not enough out there to help people. So
Mhm.
I turned my pain into purpose, as they say.
Yes, you did turn your pain into purpose, and it's so, so, so beautiful. Um, before we started working together, though, what was your life like then?
Confusing is a very good word. I didn't really know which end was up. I knew I wanted to do the wise widow. I had tried
Mhm.
different things. I was spending a lot of money and failing miserably because I didn't really have the right guidance. And it was empty, confusing, full of fear, a lot of fear,
Mhm.
just not knowing which direction I should be going. And so I had heard about you from a friend and was invited to come on to one of your evening Zooms that you did.
Mhm.
And I was sold after that. And it's like, I need to work with this lady because I know she can help me. So I have come leaps and bounds since you and I met.
You sure have. I mean, in all different areas of your life, too, not just your business, but personally, I know that you and your family were looking at purchasing property as well and selling some homes. And so tell that story. What happened when we sold Garth's house?
Oh, well,
That was cool.
that is quite a story.
Yeah.
My son and actually, my husband and my son had always talked about buying land together, and my son basically owning it, and we were going to build our own house on it, and that was where we were going to retire. So when Daryl passed away, I said to my son Garth, I can't do this. This was yours and dad's dream. This isn't something I can do.
Mhm.
So my son respected that. He gave it a year. And then he came to me, it was around this time last year.
Mhm.
Mom, are you sure you won't do this with me? I think you should. I think you need to be on my property, kind of so I can keep an eye on you. So
Uh-huh.
he really, at the beginning, I had to kind of pump the brakes with him because he was really trying to fill his dad's shoes. And I said to him, Garth, you will never fill dad's shoes. You have your own boots to fill. So
Mhm.
he kind of, I think took heed to that and then came to me, Mom, I think we should still do this. I said, okay, you look, see what you can find, whatever. And my daughter lives in a town about 45 minutes from the town that my son and I live in. So we wanted to buy property in that area, and in that area it's a little cheaper. So we found an acreage. It was back in April. So we went into panic mode. Oh, this is the acreage. This is what we want. Because he was very determined in getting 50 acres. It has to be 50 acres. He's a hunter and he has hunting dogs and he wants to raise pheasants and keep his dogs trained. So 50 acres, that's what you need to be able to, utilize the dogs properly. So he finds one. We both throw our houses up for sale. His house sold in like 2 or 3 days over asking price. Like he got basically 20,000 more than he was asking. It went into a bidding war. His house is gone. Mine sits there and it sits there. And I am staring out my living room window, willing this house to sell, staring at this for sale sign, trying to will it to say sold. Well, my house still is not sold. And I ended up taking my house off the market.
Mhm.
That property, we lost it. But that property was very expensive. It would have basically tapped us out financially. But
Mhm.
you know what? That was what we were going to do. Well, it fell apart on us. But he had sold his house. So
Mhm.
we've been looking all summer, and then possession date came. He had to give his house up and he ended up moving in with me. Now, my son is in his mid 30s. I don't think there's very many 30-year-old men that want to live with their mother, but that was what the cards dealt us. And he ended up having to move in with me because he sold his house. We thought, okay, we're going to end up spending this winter living together. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, out of the blue, this property fell into our laps. Now, we had looked at 2 or 3 others. They weren't a good fit. They didn't work
Mhm.
out for us for whatever reasons they were. And then this one came, and I was in Calgary at the time. So I was almost 6 hours away. Did you see this listing? Look at this. So he looks at it and he goes, okay, we need to go look at this right away because it's going to disappear.
Mhm.
And while I was on my way home from Calgary, he was headed to Calgary. So he phones the realtor and says, "Okay, I need to make an appointment to look at this property, but I can't go. My mom will go." So I go look at this property. He was looking for 50 acres. This property was 150 acres, and the price was about two to 300,000 less than properties we had been looking at that were 50.
Oh,
So as
wow.
soon as I see this house, I said to the realtor, he'll be buying this. I'm telling you, he's buying this. So I phoned my son and I said, you need to get a hold of the realtor. You need to put in an offer and you need to do it now. Like you can
Mhm.
e-sign and everything. So he did. And then you're sitting on pins and needles wondering what's going to happen. We found out there was 5 other showings after our showing.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, we better not lose this place. Well, 2 days later, we found out they accepted our offer and it's moving forward. We're just, you have to get your inspections and everything. That's the place he's at right
Mhm.
now, and he should be getting possession the middle of October. So my house will go up for sale in January. I'm in no rush to sell it because
Mhm.
he has his. He didn't need me to help him with anything because it was such a amazing price.
Mhm.
And,
It all
I
worked,
believe
didn't it?
it
Yeah.
worked and it wasn't us that did it. I truly believe it was the universe, God, whatever it is that people believe in on their own. There is a higher power helping us. And I like
Mhm.
to think my husband that passed, he's got his fingers dibbled in this. I know he does. He just has to be because this property is so Daryl. It's something that Daryl would have said to Garth, okay, you need to buy this. Do not drag your heels. So
That
yeah,
is
it's
so
like,
Awesome. Congratulations. And
thank you.
thanks for sharing that story because I remember when we first started working together, we worked on your business, getting that going, and everything that you're working on that. And then I remember we did a soul tie box on the houses, on Garth's house to sell. And then he sold it for 10,000 more.
Yes, absolutely. So
And now I love how the pieces are falling together for you in all areas of your life. Personally, what transformation happened for you when we started using the brain system?
Well, I was after Daryl passed away, I think a lot of widows can probably contest to this. You live in a fear of the unknown, what's going to happen
Mhm.
to me, what's my new path? Because my whole life, I'm in my early 60s, and it was like we were getting to the point of retirement, and we had plans. We were traveling, and we were going to do all these things, and all of a sudden,
Mhm.
it wasn't we, it was me. And I
Right.
was very confused. Felt very empty, very alone. I have heard that cliche about uh, being in a room full of people and never feeling so alone. I found what
Uh-huh.
that meant, how that felt. I never really knew what that meant. I found out what that meant. So
Mhm.
I had to put my pieces together, and um, putting my pieces together, doing the acreage and living on the same property as my son is kind of a bonus for me because I didn't think that would happen. But it's
Mhm.
getting this new business going, getting the Wise Widow going. It, by doing that, it has helped me personally because I've learned so much about my grief and so
Mhm.
much about my journey by putting this together and helping other people.
Yes, and you truly are the wise widow. I mean, the words that you are saying, you guys tell? I can't wait for our listeners to hear your wisdom. And what advice would you give others who also may feel stuck or alone or in fear? Other widows out there.
I think the biggest thing is you need to listen to yourself. Society is very grief illiterate,
Mhm.
and everybody else has a timeline for you, and everybody else has a plan for you. Your life is not their plan. Your life is your life. And you need to go through your own timeline, and you need
Mhm.
to take the time you need. I've heard other widows say to people, you know what? You need to get up out of bed and you need to push yourself. And I don't agree with that. I think if you need a day in bed, you need to take that day in bed. Now, I'm not advocating staying in bed for 5 years after you lose your spouse,
Mhm.
but you need to take time for yourself. And those people that are telling you how to go through your grief, you have to find an eloquent way of telling them to back off. You sincerely do need to do it your way in your timeline, and every
Mhm.
single person is different. I like to think of grief as our fingerprints. It is unique to every one of us.
Oh, that's a really great comment too. It is unique. It's a unique journey, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is.
For sure. And you're good at supporting people with that. I know that you're just like stellar with that. You just feel like it feels to me like you know the right thing to say at the right time.
Well, that could be a gift, like
Yes,
we
that's your
all
gift. Hmm.
I don't know. When I was a kid, I used to get in trouble. My mother used to always laugh and say on every one of my report cards, it always said, Dawn talks too much. But I think that was the gift that God gave me because I think every single thing that has happened in your life leads you up to the next thing. And I think of the years that I worked in adult education and doing programming and stuff like that. It has trained me to do what I'm doing for the Wise Widow. Different things that I have done in life have led me to this point. I also have certification as a public and professional speaker. Not knowing what I would do with it, always kind of wanted to be a motivational speaker. But honestly, to be a motivational speaker, you either need to be a celebrity or something significant has had to happen in your life. And I said to my husband, well, I feel like I live a boring humdrum life. Who's ever going to listen to me? What do I have to say? And
Hmm.
when he passed, it was like, this light shone down on me and said, okay, this is your purpose. This is what your life has led up to.
Hmm.
So, in my 60s, here I am starting a new business, but it's not a business sheerly for making money and just for something to do. It is sincerely to help other people
Hmm.
because there's a lot of people that struggle and they are in such a deep, dark hole and don't know how to get out. And the people that are around them have not walked their journey and they can't help them. They don't know how to help them. They think they're saying the right thing, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not saying the right thing. They're saying nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10 the wrong thing and things that are hurtful to a widow or widower that people don't understand that it is as hurtful as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it always is. I would always say that, the best sort of, alcohol counselor is a former alcoholic. You've had to be through it, right? You've had to go through it and you have. You've gone through it and your positivity just sort of shines too, Dawn. So you have that mindset. And I know that when we started, you didn't have all of that. You were still in fear and confused. And after we cleared some layers of that fear, it allowed you to really empower yourself and step into your gift, into your power in such a great way. Because
Oh,
it's truly you.
absolutely.
You are. I mean, you've got the great background with the public speaking and everything too, for sure. Yeah. What have been some of your other biggest breakthroughs, would you say, on your journey here?
Um, you know what? Really learning to deal with my grief while helping others and finding finding all the ways to be able to just creatively live life. You don't have
Uh-huh.
to be traveling the world or running here, running there, doing all these activities to be fulfilled. There's so many other ways to fulfill your life that I didn't really realize how just your own mindset and
Hmm.
what's going on in your own head and your own heart really is where your life goes. That so often you hear money does not buy happiness. And I
Hmm.
think that that is so true because, I'm not sitting here a multimillionaire moving forward to help other people for fun. I still have to live and put my pieces together without my husband. And
Hmm.
I need a ways and a means to do that. And I think that that is just a huge breakthrough in being able to sit very content doing what I'm doing, knowing I'm making a difference in other people's lives.
Yes, and you truly have the passion there. You have the passion. This is a passion project for you, this business. It truly is. You emulate just the the uh, the ability to be able to move through it.
Yes.
And you have the tools, and I know that you've studied some, and then the brain soul tools too, I'm sure have helped you. I know you do the mind gyms regularly.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? There is no end to learning. I I'm a person, so when I've done several different things in my life. This isn't the first business I've started. I When I finished high school, I went to college and I became a dental assistant, and I was a dental assistant for 30 years. 10 years of that I spent working in a college teaching other dental assistants.
Hmm.
That kind of came to its end, and it was like, okay, I'm so over dentistry right now. I can't do this anymore. And I left. Then I opened a business. I took a course, and I was 50 at the time. And I became an electrologist, and I started doing permanent hair removal. And I started doing that because I could work from home and I wanted to be at home. So
Hmm.
I did that. And I still do that a little bit on the side. It's not a huge thing for me, but I do it a bit.
Hmm.
While I was doing that, I also at 50, I became a certified fitness instructor. And I started because I started going to the gym. I needed to fill my time, and I've always been quite athletic. And I'm in these classes thinking, why am I paying other people to teach me or do fitness with me? They should be paying me to do this. So I became a fitness instructor. And then with COVID, so many gyms shut down and everything, and I let that certification go. So I don't do that anymore. And then my husband wanted to move to the town that he was raised in, which is Hinton, Alberta. And that's where I am right now. And I really need to get out of Hinton. It's not, Hinton and I don't get along. I feel like Hinton has taken a lot away from me. So I'm going to be moving. And so on with my journey I go. And then we moved to Hinton and we were only here for 5 years and my husband passed away. And
Mm.
it's like, now what am I going to do? When my husband passed away, we had an 8-week-old grandchild. It was our first grandbaby. Daryl could not wait to be a grandfather, and that baby's only 2 months old and he passes. Well,
Mm.
I'm happy to say that grandbaby number two is on the way, will be born in the middle of October. So there's a lot of things happening in October for us. My son's getting his property. We have a grandbaby coming. So, life is good. And when Daryl passed away, I thought, what is left for me? I didn't even want to be here. And I know a lot of widows and widowers feel that way. Like, I don't even
Mhm.
want to be here anymore. So you need to find your purpose when you
Mhm.
lose when you lose your person that is your world. You need to find a purpose and you need to find what life is for you.
Yes, yes, very well said. I've seen that with other loss too. Whether
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
whether anything, whatever it is, whatever the loss is, usually there is, it's a transition period too to the next chapter, right? The next chapter of your life. And so purpose, if someone doesn't have a purpose, it's hard for them to heal.
Oh,
Even if it's a health
absolutely.
issue. I've seen that with health issues too. You
Oh,
know,
and you know only that too well, right? With your
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And
So, mhm.
I found out in my grief journey because I thought that grief was connected to death. Grief is not connected to death. Grief can
Mhm.
be the grief of losing a job,
Mhm.
losing your house. It can be anything.
Right.
Pet loss is huge for people. And there's so many different losses, whether it's your spouse, a child, a best friend, a parent, a grandparent. It's grief is endless. And I found that out and I never realized
Mhm.
how deep grief was because I was always like, I've never been through grief because Daryl was really the first person in my life for me to ever lose. But I think of job losses and different things.
Yes.
And even when I moved to Hinton, the loss of leaving the house that we raised our children in, that was a grief for me. That was a huge transition for me.
Hmm.
And then to be here and now Daryl's not here, this is the big one for me, and I'm turning it into something. I have to.
And I'm so proud of you for that too. Give us some tips though. So if our audience is listening here and they've had loss, again, any kind of loss, you are the wise widow. I know you like to work mostly with widows, but as we're talking about grief here and loss, what are some tips that you can give people on other tips that maybe you haven't mentioned yet on how they can help themselves during a period of grief?
Well, I think first of all, you have to take however much time it is for you to sit and have your memories, and you need to allow that grief with that loss to happen, however long that takes for you.
Mhm.
And then you need to slowly start putting your pieces together. And sometimes putting your pieces together, the first step is sometimes getting up and having a shower and getting dressed.
Okay. Yeah.
It truly is. And
Uh-huh.
then slowly you start to find your way, and you have to find what it is that is making you motivated enough to want to go forward and find your happiness. To me, it's about finding joy and happiness again in your life, because who wants to have a depressing, dark life? We need to find our joy of what that is. And
Mhm.
so, uh, what is it for some people? Do you need to go buy a puppy, or will a goldfish fulfill you? Like, it's
Uh-huh.
everybody. Some people, it's big, and people are big in their thoughts, and other people it is tiny, tiny little steps of
Mhm.
finding your joy, finding what it is that motivates you to take step by step forward. Some people like to have other people around them. And I know some people are like, oh, mom, you can't sit here alone. You have to have people around you. You know what? Maybe that's not for your mom. Maybe that isn't for you, that
Mhm.
you need people around you. Maybe you're more of a, a person that you're an introvert and you like your alone time and you're okay with your alone time.
Mhm.
COVID taught us a lot about being alone, that we can meet
Mhm.
through Zooms and meet through, you know, other means besides face to face. And for some people, that's all it is. And with the Wise Widow, I can help anybody like you through
Mhm.
Zoom anywhere in the world because it brings us closer together.
Mhm.
And I think finding what it is that brings you happiness, maybe it's going and buying a sundae at Dairy Queen that day. Maybe it's planning a trip and going to Europe. Like, you
Mhm.
need to find what it is for you that's going to bring you some contentment. But another big thing that people might have to go through first before any of that happens is face a fear or face that grief. It might take
Mhm.
staring yourself in the mirror and
Mhm.
saying, what are you so afraid of? What is the worst thing that is going to come out of this? And
Mhm.
face that fear. Ask yourself, what is my biggest fear? Or why is it that I'm feeling so empty? It's about going within
It is.
everything. As
Mhm.
you know, so much of what you have taught me, it's about what is in your head, what is in your heart, what is your energy made up of. If
Mhm.
your energy is low, the rest of you is going to be low, right? If you can
Mhm.
rise yourself up in the smallest way,
Mhm.
find something that can put a smile on your face. Some people at the beginning, I couldn't look at pictures at the beginning. Pictures crushed me. Now,
Uh-huh.
oh, I look at pictures all the time. I like to talk about Daryl. Some people, I've heard some widows say that their kids have said to them, Mom, you have to quit talking about dad. It makes other people uncomfortable. You know what? I don't care what makes other people uncomfortable. It's about me. And
Mhm.
sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish and
Mhm.
say, what is good for me and what is going to work for me?
Mhm. Such good questions. That inner dialogue that's speaking to yourself is a key. That's what I've watched you be able to do well. It's really that inner dialogue. And yes, brain soul success gets people back to 100% their soul truth. We clear the layers of the stuff so that you can rewire your brain and be able to stay in that positivity and raise your vibration. So as I'm doing that, and you're right, Dawn, as we raise our vibration, then the other pieces about what is going to give you joy is going to come in easier. You're going to find it easier. It's both. It kind of happens at the same time, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
people that are looking for a magic pill that's going to make everything better, or they're looking at someone like you or someone like me to fix them, I
Hmm.
can't fix you. You have to do the work. I can give
Yes.
you some tools. I
Hmm.
can give you some suggestions. I can motivate you a little bit. I have, different programs. Some people prefer working one on one, some people prefer being in a group, but the individual has to put the work in on their own person, right? Like, I
Yes.
can't do the work for them. You can't do the work for them.
Hmm.
We can't fix you. You have to
No.
fix yourself. And
Exactly. We're
that's
guides. We are guides. So that's how I look at myself. I'm a guide. I'm a guide. I'm giving you tools and giving you amazing tools so you can navigate your life and up level your life, the whole rest of your life in all areas. Right?
oh,
Whether it be
absolutely.
business or personal. Because if you own a business, your business and your personal, they connect. How
Oh,
you're doing personally, you can't take those apart. We're whole people, right? Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, because when I look at my journey since I met you, and I think that was back in like February that I met you, and I think of the changes that have happened in my life, both personally and with my business.
Mhm.
It's all connected because it's all connected to me. It's
Yes.
all me.
Hmm.
And I can't have other people telling me what to do. They can give you suggestions. And you know what? Some of our people in our lives are very forceful and really want to tell us what to do. You have to find a way to be able to go, yes, thank you, and then turn and do it your own way, because that is your strength. You have to be in control. And I'm a firm believer of that. I was the youngest of three girls. I have two older sisters. So I spent a lifetime having parents and sisters telling me how to live my life and what I needed to do. And I grew up a little lacking self confidence because I was so used to everybody telling me what to do.
Hmm.
And I think then you slowly sometimes switch that you start telling people what to do because and I had to back off with things. And, with my kids, I have to allow my kids and respect my kids to live their lives the way they want to live them. And now that I don't have Daryl, they have to respect me enough to allow me to live my life the way I want to live mine.
Yes, absolutely. That's very, I always just think about this. God helps those who help themselves,
Absolutely. My mother always
right?
said that.
It's like if you're not helping yourself. So it's an inner journey. It's definitely an inner journey. And you have come up on the other side of this, doing such great, great work in the world, and sharing your gift in so many beautiful ways. What would you say to somebody who's like on the fence of doing some of the brain soul work?
You have to make up your mind that you want to change. You have
Hmm.
to totally, it is a decision. Life is full
Uh-huh.
of decisions. Nobody can
Yes.
make that decision for you. So you can let money hold you back and say, I can't afford this.
Hmm.
But I honestly find if it's something that you truly think is meaningful for you and going to help you in your life,
Hmm.
money will come. You can't let money
Exactly.
hold you back.
Hmm.
Now, with that being said, you can't go crazy and be spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands doing something that you will never be able to pay that back. But you have to make the decision that yes, I want to fix myself, if you want to use the word fix, or I want to help myself
Hmm.
to dig out of this dark hole, or
Hmm.
become less confused, or find my path, or find my purpose. And that's what it's all about. We all have a horizon, or a dawn, as I like to say, that
Uh-huh.
is there, and you
Mhm.
need to find what it is and chase it and make your own life better, because it does not matter who is in your life. They can't necessarily make it better for you. You have to make that decision to make it better. So for me, doing the brain soul and getting into, honestly, when I first started working with you, I didn't I think I didn't completely understand what I had paid for and what I got myself into. And then as I continued, it got clearer and clearer. My visions got clearer. My purpose got clearer.
Mhm.
And look at me now.
I know the strength that you have. I'm so proud of you and all the changes in your life, both personally and professionally. And it's only been 6 months.
Yes.
That's
And
the cool thing, right? In 6 months, look how much somebody's life can change. And when you were telling me also about the acreage that your son bought right now, and you guys, I know you've been looking for that, and we did some clearings on some properties and everything together. And now all those pieces are falling into place. When we raise the vibration and we get back to 100% our soul truth, I often see that. I often see that people's lives start to change and positivity comes in. Doesn't mean we're not going to have a bad day, right? Stuff still happens, but more of that seems to keep happening and coming into our lives.
but it's also how you deal with that stuff that happens. Because
Yes.
I
Yes.
used to deal with stuff that happened in a very negative way.
Mhm.
I would go, you, you could ask my kids,
Mhm.
Daryl, if he was still here and it was like, oh my gosh, like something went wrong, it would absolutely throw her over the deep end and
Mhm.
then she would slowly drag herself out and figure out how to do it. I don't do that anymore. I don't react the way I used to. I think about things and I always come back to there was a reason for this. Like when we lost the first acreage that we had put an offer in on and we threw our houses up for sale and we lost it because my house didn't sell. And
Mhm.
I was so upset and I brought myself in and I said, there's a reason for this. There is a purpose for this. And I
Mhm.
started really thinking about it. And when I think about that particular acreage now, and I talked to my son about it because he was quite upset. And I said, that house that was on that place, it was a 4,000 square foot house. It was a massive house. I said,
Mhm.
Barth, you're single still. You don't have a family yet. I said, yeah, I said, you'd have got lost in that house. It was way too much house. I said,
Yeah.
Dad was laughing at you, going, oh my God, like you don't need a house that big. And when I brought up his dad and said that, his eyes filled full of tears. And he was like, you know what, Mom, you're right. And the way that property was where I would
Mhm.
have been living, I would have felt very, very secluded. And I was
Mhm.
afraid of feeling secluded.
Uh-huh.
So things happen for a reason,
Yes, it wasn't right. Yep.
It wasn't right for us.
Mhm.
And we have found this one's perfect. I am so excited about it. And
Oh, I love
uh,
the changes. I mean, look at the beautiful changes in your life right now.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And, I
yes.
have my journey forward with my business with the Wise Widow over the winter while Garth lives there on his own. He needs to be there on his own for a while and put his pieces together and get his life going. It's his property, not mine. I always say, oh, he's buying it and I'm just putting a house on there because he wants me there and I'm going to squat there for the rest of my life. I said, you're stuck with me, buddy. So,
Oh, that's so awesome. It's such a gift to be with you today. I usually like to end with just a couple of questions. When you're not doing your work and you're not buying property, right? What does Dawn like to do in her free time?
well, I love to spend time with my granddaughter. She's 2 now and she's at that age. She's hilarious. And I have that other baby on the way that my daughter's expecting her second one. But I keep myself busy. I'm an active person. I always have been. When I was a kid, I was very sports oriented. So, I've taken up pickleball and I curl in the winter and I have other friends that we like to go for walks. There's some, because of where I live, it's a beautiful area to do that. And I love to read. And, I used to read um, fictional books and,
Mhm.
murder mysteries and stuff like that. I don't do that. I read more self-help books now and,
Mhm.
books that educate me. And so I love to read, and I had bought myself a little puppy a year ago. So little Miss Abby keeps me busy. And, because I'm from Calgary, a lot of my friends are still in Calgary. I make several trips to Calgary and visit friends. And, sometimes I just like to sit at home and do nothing.
Nice.
I'm not a person that bakes. You know
Mhm.
what? If I have to bake you a cake, I will, and I'll do a fine job, but it's not something that some people, that's their stress relief. Bake and
Mhm.
cook. You know what?
Uh-huh.
I'll eat it, but I don't want to. I can cook, and I am actually, my kids always say, Mom, you're a really good cook, but you know what? It's not my passion.
Nice.
But everybody finds their niche. So if that's the thing you need to do, I know there was another widow I was talking about, and she said she always canned. She loved to can, and her husband would eat the canned peaches and everything, and her husband is gone now. And she says, I sat and I did all my canning and I canned all my peaches still. I still had to do it. And I said, that's good. That's what you
Yeah.
have to do. You still have to do what makes you happy. And, you know, being in Canada, winter's around the corner and it is not my favorite time of year, but I go pheasant hunting with my son. Pheasant hunting,
Oh,
that season is
nice.
starting. And so we'll be out doing that. And actually, next weekend coming up, my kids and I, we're all going. last kick at the can. We're all going camping and fishing for the weekend. So
Oh, nice. Oh, you have such a rich, beautiful, beautiful time, beautiful, beautiful life. Another question I like to end with too is uh, give us one brain tip. This is the Brain Soul Success Show. So what would be a brain tip secret you'd like to leave our audience with?
I have a tendency at times, I have squirrel brain that I get too many things going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to stop myself and say, Dawn, one piece at a time.
Nice.
Multitasking can be a very good thing, it has a place.
Mm-hmm.
But I think multitasking can be very overwhelming and I think it overwhelms the brain and the mind. And I think that sometimes you just need to say, slow down and one step at a time.
Such good advice. Very, very good advice. And finally, how can people get a hold of the Wise Widow? So where can they learn more about you, your business, how they can get help, Dawn?
I have a web page. It's www.thewisewidow.ca. Very important CA because I'm in Canada. So many people use .com, but I'm
Mhm.
.ca. So thewisewidow.ca. All my information is on there. My email address is grief@thewisewidow.ca, and
Excellent.
anybody can email me that way. Through my webpage, there's different ways. I have a Facebook page, I have Instagram, I have YouTube. I kind of dibble in it all, but getting out there, I'm actually doing a tour when I get back from seeing you in Carlsbad.
Oh, I'm
I'm
so excited.
doing a 2 week tour that I'm going to different family and community support centers, and I'm going to different retirement and nursing homes to talk to people about grief and doing presentations to let people know that I'm out there. So just because I'm based in Alberta doesn't mean that I can't help anybody anywhere in the world, because Zoom brings us together, right?
Yes, it does bring us together. I'm really excited to meet you in person too. So I'm going to see Dawn at our retreat coming up here in a few weeks. And when you meet someone on Zoom and you connect like this, and you're so, like we're like sisters or something, it's so cool. It's so wonderful to meet people in person. So I'm super excited to meet you in a couple of weeks, Dawn, at our retreat, and also for your tour after that. And all you're doing with the good work you're doing with helping people as the wise widow, and you truly are the wise widow. So thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. And yeah, looking forward to meeting you. I can't wait to give you a hug.
Me too. We're just going to have a love orgy. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So remember, everyone, follow your heart, but take your brain with you.